Is there like a button that says full?
No.
I mean, like you just go up to the cap.
Yep.
Go up to here.
I usually try to stop down here.
Down there. Okay.
Yeah,
You don't want to fill it too high.
Things happen as you're holding that can and you're filling. Sometimes you'll overfill it. I've done it plenty of times. So it's not a big deal if that happens.
Right.
If you do that, just get yourself cleaned off of fuel, get this closed back up, maybe take a rag and kind of scrub some things down. Primer bulb a few times to get it, get gas up in here. What I usually do is I press the primer bulb until I can see gas travel back through the yellow line.
Can I see that?
Yep.
Where are you looking? So you
So
hit it.
this is a primer bulb.
Hit that 2 or 3 times.
Usually what I do is I push it until I see gas travel back through this line.
Okay.
So what this primer bulb does is you push it down and lift it up. The vacuum of it lifting up pulls fuel up this line. And if there's already too much fuel up here, it's going to push it back through.
Okay.
So I usually just push it till I see fuel come back through. First time of the day. After that, you shouldn't really need the primer bulb. Then you're going to flip this choke lever up. No more than 2 or 3 pulls on choke. Usually what I do is I flip that choke lever up, I grab my trigger, and I give it the 2 or 3 pulls. Usually this tries to start in 1 pull.
Okay, good.
As long as you're using the good gas and the good oil, usually this is going to try to start in 1 pull. When you hear it try to start, or if you don't hear it try to start, take it off choke, and it should only be 1 or 2 pulls and you're off to the races.
Okay, and if it doesn't start, push it down anyway, and then wait
push
a
it
little
down
while.
anyway and pull it and see if you get it to start. If you pull it too many times on choke, what that's going to do is it's going to pull too much fuel into the engine. It'll end up flooded, and it really won't want to start for you.
Okay.
So if you make that mistake, there's a couple of things you can do to try and clear up the error. 1, drop it and leave it for about 30 or 40 minutes. That's not the optimum way when you're trying to do yard work.
You want it done
but,
now.
the other way is to take it off of choke, pull your trigger down, and pull it about 20 times, and it'll clear out.
That right there?
Yeah. So you're going to hold the trigger like this, and you're going to pull this about 20 times until it clears the gas out of the engine.
Okay. And so to start it, I have to squeeze that too, right?
You don't have to.
No. Okay.
I personally do, but you don't have to.
Okay.
The first step to starting it, though, is always to make sure that this switch is turned on.
Okay.
If you don't do that, you're not going to start it no matter how hard you try.
All right.
All right. So I've got the number on here. Give me just a second. I'm going to take it in back, service it, make sure everything runs right for you.
Okay.
And then I'll be back up to get all your information and bill you out on it. Cotter key right here is an OSHA safety thing.
Okay.
Most people, once they remove this, get rid of it and never think about it again.
Okay.
By technicality, if you're working on job sites or whatever, you're supposed to have it because it's OSHA rated safety stuff, but it's kind of redundant.
Not a necessity to have it. Okay.
So this nut on here is left-handed thread. So it's actually righty-loosey, lefty-tighty.
Okay.
As you hit things with this edger blade, this gets tighter.
Oh.
So as long as you make sure when you put a new edger blade on this that it's nice and snug, it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Unless you have a major catastrophic failure.
Okay.
And if you have that type of failure, this pin's not stopping it.
Okay.
I've never seen it happen.
So we really don't need that part.
No.
Okay.
So I have a
Maybe
lot
just
of
take
people
it
that get
off.
really stressed about this cotter key. It's like, it's time to replace my blade, and I don't have a cotter key, and I need to get. It's like, dude, don't worry about it. I have them if you decide you want them.
Okay.
I keep a drawer that has like 30 of them in there, but it's redundant.
Okay.
The blades on this, try and keep from scraping concrete with it, but you're going to do
That's
it because you're edging on
impossible.
concrete.
Yeah.
So don't stress about it. If you do, you're not going to kill anything. It just wears out the blade a little bit faster.
Okay, and you can get a replacement blade for that. Okay.
I have them here. I've got 2 figuring out changing that blade. If you'll come by and buy a blade from me, I'll put it on there for you.
Okay.
And $2 a blade isn't too bad. I know Home Depot sells them for like 2 for $10. So
No, it's okay. You wonder what you get there.
yeah. I'm gonna give you a tool so that you can do it though, just in case you decide you want to do it. I'm also going to show you, so you see this little silver plate under here, you see how it has a little hole that I'm lining up by turning that?
Uh-huh.
So one of the tools I'm going to give you is an adjustment tool that lets you adjust all the bolts on this.
Okay.
If you stick that tool into here, it locks the gear head in place.
Okay.
Then you can take your other tool to this nut and take it off.
I see. Okay.
The Weed Eater head works the same way, but you don't need a tool to take the Weed Eater head off. You just need...
How do you do that?
So, just like with the edger, You stick a thing in there. This one's nice and marked for you on the
So it
little
doesn't
guard
spin?
here, so it's easy. So you stick the tool in there so it doesn't spin.
Uh-huh.
Then you grab this top piece and turn it to the right, and it's going to release it. And then it'll spin right off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Starting out.
I always make sure I always tap them on the ground back there and make sure it's feeding line properly before I let it go. 'Cause
Okay.
I've had like 2 in 15 years that have come in where they put the spool in backwards. It's really funny when they do that because when the spool's in backwards and you tap for line, it takes all the line away. All of it's gone.
Let me make sure that goes in right.
So you won't have to take it apart like I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Unless you get the line eaten up to where it's inside the head and it's not coming out anymore. So if you
Okay.
get on a fence line and you
Good to know.
destroy that line and it gets inside, you're going to have to take it apart.
Okay.
Since he's filming me, this is going to make your life really easy. If you ever have to take it apart, there's only one rule about putting it back together. And that's making sure that this spool goes back on the same way it came off.
Okay.
There is a little letter L on this spool.
Okay.
When I put this back, I want to see the letter L. As long as I see the letter L, we're good to go.
Okay.
So, when this runs out of line, it's going to fling the last little piece out. It's not going to put out somebody's eye. It's only going to go like 5 feet from you. When it does that, it'll be a piece this long. It's time to refill. It should already be lined up, but if it's not, what you're going to do, you see this arrow on top of the head here.
Okay.
I know you've got a cover on it, so they put a notch in the side so you can see where the arrow is from the side, even though they've got a cover over it.
Okay.
You're going to turn that until it's lined up with this hole, just like this. If you do that, you can look all the way through the head.
Okay.
You see the light on the other side.
Right.
So now I'm going to take my new cut of line. Like I said before, I always tell people 2 full wingspans. That's about the optimal. That way, no matter what size line you're running, as long as it's within that 095, 105, it doesn't matter. 2 wingspans will fill it up and it won't overfill.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, we're going to watch as we push it through, make sure it's going right through the middle. If it goes right through the middle, it comes right out the other side. If not, you'll feel it start to try and curve around.
Go around.
So
Okay.
pull it back out and then look and make sure, right through the middle. We're going
Okay.
to drop our weed eater. It's imaginary right now. But we're going to drop our weed eater. We're going to pull this as even as we can get it. Don't stress too much about it, but
Okay.
get close.
Close to it. Well.
Now we're picking up our weed eater again, and we're going to turn this top piece.
Okay. And if you turn it the wrong way, it won't go? Okay, good.
Doesn't do anything if you turn it the wrong way. That's part of what that L does, is it makes sure it spins the proper way.
Okay.
So we've got it up here. Let's say it looks like this. We've got it really uneven or something.
Uh-huh.
Get it on your machine, which it's going to be on the machine. You're not going to take the head off to do this, but just get your machine started and let it cut this. So just bump it out, let it cut, bump it out, let it cut, bump it out, let it cut, and it'll eventually be back to even.
Okay.
Because you've got a cutter on the back side of that guard that just cuts this if you let it out too far.
Okay.
Again, this is a momentum-based bump head. So instead of having a button here, which is problematic, what you're going to do, you're going to keep the head spinning and tap it on the ground while it's spinning. And when you do, it's going to let line out just like this. So you can see I can do it manually, but I'm having to turn this top piece to the left as I push it down.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the bump works on that. It's
Okay.
just momentum-based.
Okay.
So
So I do take the thing and tap it on the
Yep.
ground lightly, and it'll straighten itself out.
yep.
Okay. So that both ends are even.
Yeah, so the cutter on there will cut you back to even if you're a little bit off.
Okay.
So no big deal there, and you'll lose what, 2 inches of line? Yeah, who cares?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The big thing is, of course, again, if you get eat up on a fence line or whatever and have to take it apart, just make sure the spool goes back in the same way it came out.
Okay.
Letter L facing you.
Okay.
All right. At the line spinning, but what you're cutting, as you start getting closer and closer to yourself as you're cutting, you're going to get frustrated first off because you're going to be like, I'm not cutting nearly as much as I was before.
Okay.
Tap it out
Visual.
and get it back out.
Okay.
But it only has about yay far that it can go because that blade's going to cut
We'll
it.
Cut it with the speed.
And you'll
going.
hear it cut it if you bump it out too far.
Okay.
So it'll make sure you know it'll ramp as it cuts it. And
Is
you
this
can
much
see where I bumped it.
louder than a?
It is going to be louder than electric.
Okay.
Your electric machines are a lot quieter. That's part of why some of the neighborhoods and stuff like them. So this guy right here is a pin that sits into the shaft of this. So if you'll look at this guy right here, you see this little hanging hook sits into a hole here.
Okay.
So that is what this pin is sitting in on this weed eater attachment.
Got it.
So to take out this weed eater attachment, we're going to loosen this guy. We're going to pull this pin out and turn it to the side so it can't sit in its little ridge right there. Now that we've loosened this guy and taken the pin out, this comes out.
Turn.
You see that hole where the pin was sitting in.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to drop this guy in. This is a little cheat guide to make sure you know that you've gotten all the way in.
Okay.
Sometimes as you put it in, it'll hang halfway and you have to kind of like take it out and put it back in and get it to go all the way down.
Okay.
So now that we've gotten our cheat guide to see that we're down where we want to be, put this to where it would fall into the hole if it could. Then spin this until it finds the hole. It pops down in. We tighten this guy up and you're off to the
And you're
races.
secure. Okay.
Yep. This tool right here is for just about every bolt on this machine. If
Okay.
this tool doesn't fit it, you're not meant to mess with it.
Okay.
But this will let you adjust this handle to a more comfortable position.
Okay.
For you especially as you're getting yourself kind of strung up to it and stuff and kind of figuring out where it sits comfortably and stuff, you might want to move that handle to a spot that sits better for you.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind. You can adjust that so that it's more comfy for you.
Okay.
Spark plug, I was going to show you where that was and we ended up not doing that earlier.
So much involved in this. Wow.
Spark plug is right here. It's behind this boot.
Okay.
So getting into that is a little bit of a pain in the neck. You got to get this boot off, which I'm not going to do right now because it's a pain to put it back on.
Okay.
But if you want us to change it, bring it by. We'll change it.
Okay.
Not a big deal. Standard service, especially in winter, is only like a week to do. When we get into summer, we get to where we're a couple weeks out usually because summer is just busy.
I can imagine.
Landscapers bust equipment all day long in summer.
Well, hopefully this won't bust for a long time.
And just plug your store because we're going to put this on YouTube as well.
So we're Lost Mountain Outdoor Power Equipment. We work with a whole bunch of different brands of equipment. Echo is definitely one of our best brands for the homeowners. Affordable equipment that holds up for a really long time. They've done really good service out of us. They're a Japanese company, and what we've found as we've done our research in the industry, the Japanese companies are just making better products. You have Honda, Kawasaki, Echo, Shindawa, Maruyama, all of those brands. The Japanese stuff just seems to hold up longer. That's why we keep it in our store, and that's why we sell it to customers, because it holds up a good long time. People get taken care of.
And in Georgia, they could find you?
Oh yeah, in Georgia, in Dallas, Georgia. Over here right outside of Hiram City. So you just loosen this knob right here. That comes out.
Look at that.
There's your air filter. It's just a little guy.
Okay.
Don't take an air hose to this or anything.
Okay.
Take it out. Maybe like try and scrub stuff out of it, maybe with a rag or
So
something.
you can
Don't,
salvage it before
yeah.
you. Okay.
You can try and salvage it. Don't get it wet.
Okay.
But like you can take like a paper towel or something, try and scrape stuff off
Scrape
of
it
it.
off.
If it stays really nasty though, these are not that expensive.
Okay.
I think our price on this is like $5.95 or something like that.
Okay.
Not a very expensive filter, so if it looks disgusting and gross, chuck it, get a new one.
Okay.
You don't have to check that every time you use it, but it's good to check it from time to time.
Good to know it's there.
Usually, most of my people end up checking it after they start having performance issues. I don't recommend waiting that long. Check it from time to time.
Okay.
For homeowners, once a month is plenty.
Okay.
If you make a day out of the month, where if you've got like a lawnmower and stuff too, if you make a day out of the month where you just go out there, check the oil, check the air filter, it's not going to take you 10 minutes to do all that on all your equipment.
Right.
And you can save yourself a whole lot of heartache.
Right.
The air filter on this one, the primary thing that you're going to have cause problems as this air filter gets dirtier is you're going to get performance issues. And if you push through the performance issues, eventually you'll get dirt ingestion in the engine. That's a no good. We don't want that. For standard style engines, like on a lawnmower, if you let that air filter go bad, what you're going to have happen is it's going to start eating up oil. Same with your
Oh,
car.
It could be with ours, yeah.
If your car air filter goes bad, you're going to start going through oil. You're going to be going like, why am I going through oil? Usually what we have happen is people get all their stuff serviced in spring, and they don't think about it at all summer. And then you get to the end of summer, and everybody's like, man, my lawnmower is just going through so much oil. I don't understand. It's like, how's your air filter? I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a couple months. There's the problem.
Look
with-
at the air filter, number one.
Yeah, with this style machine, because
Okay.
oil is not separated from the gas, you're not going to have that problem. So you're
Okay.
not going to tear up your engine from that, but you'll get performance issues out of it. And
Okay.
so you'll be out there, you'll be like, man, this is like half the power it should be. What's going on?
Okay.
Anytime you
Good
have
indication.
any sort of power issues, start asking questions.
Okay.
Check the spark plug, check the air filter, a fuel filter in there too.
Okay.
But if you bring it to us every winter for us to do service on it, we're going to get all those replaced for you and stuff. You're
Okay.
not going to have problems. Very seldom do I ever have somebody have to do service stuff in the middle of the year if they're a homeowner.
Okay.
Landscapers, they need to be doing service stuff like every week, but they don't.
They
They're stubborn.
put it off till it
Yeah,
breaks.
they put it. Yeah, they put it off until they have problems. I always say the wise old adage is: if you do not schedule maintenance for your equipment will schedule maintenance for you.
Oh yeah.
So just have a time to go out there, take a peek at things, make sure everything's right.
Okay.
As long as you do that from time to time, you're going to avoid most of the issues you would have. Especially as a homeowner, you're not using this machine as much. I know you got 2 acres, but that's not a huge property. I have homeowners that actually have 15 acres, and they'll buy a weed eater like this and use it out there. And it's like, you guys need to be doing service work on this all the time. But
Yeah.
for you at 2 acres, it's not a huge property.
Okay.
You're going to be able to take care of that pretty quickly, and especially as you diversify this, if you end up wanting to do bushes with the head trimmer attachment and stuff, you're going to put a little bit more use on this engine.
Okay.
But even still, as a homeowner, you're not putting anywhere near the use that the commercial guys are.
Right. That's why I wanted to get like a commercial kind of
Yeah.
machine.
So this is definitely going to serve you better than the stuff that you're going to find from MTD at Home Depot and stuff.
Right.
Their product just is not the quality that this is.
Okay. Yeah.
First step, flip
That.
that on. That's your on and off switch.
Got it.
Then, like I was saying,
squeeze
I
that top
I
and
personally
bottom.
squeeze that. Just keep in mind that you're squeezing the engagement, so when you get it started, if you don't let go of that, that's going to start spinning. But I like to squeeze that as I do this. Pull this choke lever on. First time of the day, hit this button a couple times. If you'll watch as I push it,
Only
you can.
the first time of the day.
Yeah, only the first time of the
And
day.
there's gas in here.
Yeah, there
too.
is gas in this bubble,
Okay.
and you'll see in this yellow line right here, if you want to aim the camera at it, you can see that fluid get pushed back through that yellow line into the gas tank.
Okay.
That's telling you it's got fluid up here and it's pushing it back. So once we've got that all done, if you've been running it, you shouldn't have to try and pull on choke. But if you're just starting it first time of the day, 2 or 3 pulls on choke. Don't pull it any more than that, ever.
Okay.
If you pull it more than 2 or 3 times on choke, you're going to flood the engine. It's not going to want to start for you. You're either going to have to set it down and leave it for an hour and come back to it, or you're going to have to take the choke off, hold the trigger like so, and pull it like 20 times to get that engine cleared.
Okay.
Neither one of those methods are fun, especially when you're wanting to do yard work.
Right.
Because if you have to do the pull method, you're wore out by the time you start. And if you have to set it down for an hour, well, you're an hour late to the
And
party.
you don't want to.
And you're out in the middle of the blazing sun in Georgia as 100 degree, 200% humidity. So should be 1 pull to start.
Oh, okay. That's it.
I'm not going to run it too
And
long
then-
inside the store. But
Yeah. So it's running, and then is it spinning when it's running
no.
automatically?
No.
No.
So only if you're holding the trigger down.
Oh, okay.
So with your electric, it kind of works the same way, except for you just had a little, here it's on, and here I hit the trigger and it starts spinning. With this one, once the engine starts running, the engine is in idle, if you would consider it that way.
Okay.
So until I hit this trigger, it's not going to give the clutch power. Once it gives the clutch power, that's going to start spinning.
Okay. Got it. I think I got it.
Go, you'll wear that cap out quicker, but I have homeowners that literally have that for 15 years before they replace it.
Okay.
So you may not need it soon, but just something to watch for, to keep in mind.
Okay.
So you see the outside of the head here,
Uh-huh.
nice and pretty. On the inside, you've got divisions right here,
Make sure you get that.
and you've also got a ring of circles all the way around the outside of that.
Okay.
So on this side of the head, when you have that ring of circles showing through, or any of these divisions popping through, it's time to replace this cap.
Okay.
This cap is only $7.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
if-
just throw it in.
Yeah.
It's fine. But so when I hit that to bump up the line,
It's going to get a little bit of wear and tear.
I don't want to do it on cement. I want to do it on
No, it
dirt
doesn't
or
matter if you do it on
grass,
cement.
or doesn't it
What
matter?
you don't want to do is have the machine running and set the head down on cement and walk while it's scraping on cement the whole time, which unfortunately landscapers who don't pay for machines do stupid stuff like that.
Okay.
That's reality. But you as a homeowner know better.
Don't want to do that. Okay.
So tapping it on cement, no problem. Do it.
Okay.
Tapping it on dirt, yard, whatever. Tap it wherever you need to tap it to get line, but don't set it on the ground and walk with it, scraping the ground as it's spinning.
Okay.
You won't need this for a while. I wouldn't advise grabbing this. I
Okay.
keep hundreds of these in stock usually.
Okay, as long as
So-
you're not going to run out.
Yeah. Outside of the very abnormal circumstance where DOT comes by and buys 100 of them, I'll always have these in stock.
Okay.
There is a spring that sits on this on the inside. If you wait too long to replace this cap, that spring will pop through and you will never find it.
Okay.
It is
So
the
I'll
hide and
watch
seek
it.
master.
And make,
So just ever.
but that spring could be replaced?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just the spring is an extra $7.
Okay.
So it's like, well, $7 for this. Another $7 for the spring is $14. The
It
whole
adds
head's
up.
only $32. So
Okay.
if you break anything else in there, it's like, okay, just replace that.
I'll just watch it, yeah.
But every once in a while, like, you know, when you do like the maintenance stuff, like if you decide, hey, every 14th of the month, I'm just going to go out there and take a peek at things, take a peek at this too.
Okay.
As a homeowner, you're not going to
something
wear
to
through this
watch.
that fast. So even if that ends up being a every other month or half a year check or whatever, you'll be fine.
Okay. Okay.
You never know because there's a lot of people that don't know things.
Okay.
So 4-stroke is the standard style for engines. It's what you have in your cars, what you have in four-wheelers, in motorcycles, in lawnmowers. So 4-stroke engines are an engine designed, gosh, I don't know how long ago, over 100 years ago, basically.
Oh.
So those engines use valves to insert gas, and they have a different system for pulling in oil. So for 4-stroke engines, your oil and your gas is always separate. And as the pistons move, they pull the things they need in when they need them. That's how that works. On a 2-stroke engine, your oil and your gas is mixed together. So with a 2-stroke engine, as your piston comes down in the engine, it actually pulls fuel into the cylinder, and then it pushes up. And as it pushes up, it's going to push exhaust out. It's also going to get all of that fuel condensed. The spark plug is going to spark, fire, cause that piston to come back down, which pulls in more fuel. So that's how the 2-stroke engine works. It doesn't need a separate port for oil because the oil is mixed in with it.
Okay. So it's better then.
In a way,
Yeah.
2-stroke engines give you a little bit better performance and better efficiency on your fuel, but they can't quite do what a 4-stroke engine can do. There's a reason why we haven't figured out a way to make cars into 2-strokes or 4-wheelers or anything. They used to do some 21-inch mowers in 2-stroke. I know Toro had one for a while, and I think Lawn Boy still makes one. They're not quite as good as a 4-stroke engine for what they do. But the 2-stroke engine for handheld gets you light with power. And that's what makes a huge difference for handheld, because if you got a landscaper out there all day, they do not want to hold a 50-pound weed eater all day trying to run it. And that's, like you were discussing, you have a little bit harder time with the weight. That's why you were running electric before. That's why I immediately went to this machine, because this is the lightest machine out of the bunch. And that's why I said that Honda is completely right out. Their weight is way higher. Honda's machines are actually 4-stroke engines.
Oh, okay.
So their weed eaters and stuff are going to be heavier. They do a little bit better power-wise, but they're heavier. And Honda is what Honda is. Honda makes a phenomenal product, and I don't ever have problems out of them. They're also usually a lot more expensive, which is why people kind of stray away from them for handheld stuff. For the 21-inch mowers, they're the company that I tell everybody to go with if they can,
Okay.
because their engines are just about undestroyable. I have commercial guys that run their 21-inch mowers for homeowners for like 3 or 4 years until they ruin the transmission on it because they've been using it on 40 yards a week. Once the transmission goes out, they sell it on eBay or Facebook yard sale, and they buy a new inventory of 21s. The engine stays running. The engine never dies. But, you know, it's a homeowner machine. It's not made for 40 yards a week. It's made for one.
Oh.
But it's also the cheapest machine. So they're like, I can give my idiots that are going to tear up machines at $1,000 lawnmower, or I can give them a $500 lawnmower.
And then yeah.